Let me start with something that might sting a little. Sometimes your absence makes a woman miss you like crazy. And sometimes it makes her realize she doesn't need you at all. That's the truth most men don't want to hear. You've been told that pulling away, being less available, or going no contact will always flip a woman's emotions and make her come running back. But the reality is, it depends. It depends on the man, the connection you built, and what she actually felt when you were around. I want you to really understand this. Absence doesn't automatically equal power. It can either deepen a woman's desire for you, or it can confirm her doubts about you. And the difference comes down to how you carried yourself before that absence even began. So, what really goes on inside a woman's mind when you're not around? What does she actually feel in those quiet moments when she notices your presence is missing? This is the part most men don't understand, because women rarely spell it out. Instead, we test, we observe, and we feel things deeply but silently. During your absence, a woman's emotions don't just sit still. They move. They shift between curiosity, longing, doubt, fear, or even freedom. And depending on who you are to her, those emotions can either work in your favor or against you. That's why I want to walk you through exactly what happens in her mind and her heart when you're not there. Because if you don't understand this, you'll either cling too hard when she starts slipping away, or you'll assume playing cold is enough to win her back. Neither of those works. The truth is, if you really want to make your absence powerful, you have to know what she's actually feeling in those moments. That's what we're about to break down. 1. The shock of silence. The first thing a woman feels when you step back is the silence. And I don't mean just physical silence, I mean the emotional one. She's used to you being around in some way, whether it's a text here, a call there, or just the comfort of knowing you're available. When that suddenly stops, there's always this initial moment of shock. It's like when you walk into your apartment and the power is out. Everything feels strange, different, and almost unsettling. That's exactly what your absence feels like to her at first. Even if she thought she didn't care, even if she felt she needed space, that sudden silence hits harder than she expected. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In those first few days, she's not necessarily thinking, "Oh my God, I miss him so much." She's thinking, "Wait, what's happening? Why is it so quiet? Why hasn't he reached out?" It's confusion more than anything else. Picture this. She's sitting on her bed at night, scrolling through her phone, and suddenly realizes there's no message from you. It's not desperation, it's disruption. You've interrupted her routine, and that disruption forces her to notice your absence more than your presence. And whether she admits it or not, that silence creates a void. Women don't like voids. We like connection, reassurance, validation. Even if we push men away sometimes, we still crave that emotional touch. When you step back, she feels it. This is why the beginning of your absence is so powerful. It's not about playing games. It's about letting her actually feel what life looks like without you in it. Some men ruin this by breaking the silence too quickly, texting her just to check in or trying to remind her they're still there. But if you do that, you rob her of the shock. You soften the impact. 2. Her curiosity kicks in. This is the part men underestimate. Once the initial silence hits, curiosity creeps in. Women are naturally curious about people we're emotionally tied to, especially when their behavior changes. Your absence makes her wonder. And once she starts wondering, you're already on her mind more than before. She'll start asking herself questions. Why hasn't he texted? Is he busy? Is he mad? Has he moved on? These questions aren't just about you. They're about her position in your life. A woman's ego and emotions are deeply connected to how much space she holds in your world. Your absence makes her question that. Here's where things split. If you were needy, clingy, or always chasing before, your sudden silence feels like a complete personality shift. That shocks her. If you were already confident and balanced, your absence just reinforces that you're a man who doesn't beg for attention. Either way, curiosity keeps her spinning. She may not reach out right away. Instead, she'll stalk your social media, ask mutual friends about you, or casually drop your name in conversations just to see if there's new information. Women rarely admit to this, but believe me, it happens more often than men think. This stage is where attraction can actually start to grow again. Curiosity is powerful because it creates space for imagination. She starts filling in the blanks. And trust me, her imagination can make you look a lot more interesting than constant presence ever could. 3. The rollercoaster of doubt. Here's the part most men don't realize. Once a woman has sat with the silence and fed her curiosity, doubt begins to sneak in. And this doubt isn't always about you. Sometimes it's about her. She starts to wonder what she really wants, how much she truly cares, and whether your absence is bothering her as much as it should. Think of it this way. Emotions aren't straight lines, they're loops. During your absence, she may feel one way in the morning and completely different by night. One moment she's scrolling through her phone, annoyed that you haven't messaged her yet, and the next moment she's convincing herself she's fine without you. That's the roller coaster. Women analyze, overthink, and replay situations in their heads far more than we admit out loud. Your absence puts fuel on that fire. She'll replay old conversations, rethink the last time you saw each other, and wonder if there were signs she missed. Here's the catch. This stage is where her ego and her heart start pulling in opposite directions. Her ego might say, "Forget him, I don't care." But her heart might whisper, "Why do I feel uneasy? Why do I keep thinking about him?" That conflict is uncomfortable. And when a woman feels discomfort, she usually tries to resolve it. Now, this doesn't mean she'll run straight back to you. Sometimes she'll double down on ignoring you just to prove to herself that she doesn't care. Other times, she'll throw out a casual text like, "Hey, how have you been?" just to test the waters. Either way, the doubt keeps her tethered to you emotionally. This is why patience is everything. If you jump back in too soon, you interrupt her roller coaster before it can peak. Let her doubt. Let her swing between thoughts. That emotional back and forth is what actually makes your absence powerful. Because even in her doubt, you're still at the center of it. 4. When longing turns into fear after doubt, something deeper sets in. Longing. And when longing stretches too long, it transforms into fear. This is one of the most intense emotions a woman feels during your absence, and it can either work beautifully in your favor or not at all, depending on who you are to her. At first, longing feels almost sweet. She catches herself missing your voice, your energy, the way you made her feel without even trying. It's like an echo of you lingers, and the more days pass, the louder that echo gets. But longing doesn't stay innocent forever. If her feelings for you were real, that longing sharpens into fear. Fear of what? Fear that maybe you've moved on. Fear that someone else now has your attention. Fear that her silence made her lose a man who actually mattered. That's the power of your absence. It forces her to face the possibility of losing you completely. Here's where men make their biggest mistake. They confuse fear with desperation. They think if a woman fears losing them, she'll chase endlessly. That's not how it works. Fear doesn't always make her run to you. Sometimes it makes her shut down. Sometimes it pushes her to test you harder. This is why confidence and patience are so important. If you're solid in yourself, her fear will keep pulling her thoughts back to you. But if you crumble, if you rush in to relieve her, the fear disappears. And so does the power of your absence. The truth is, when longing turns into fear, she has to wrestle with it alone. That's how attraction rebuilds. Not because you chased, but because she realized what life without you actually feels like. 5. Freedom versus regret. There's another side to this, and I won't sugarcoat it. Sometimes your absence doesn't create longing, it creates freedom. And yes, that's just as real as missing you. Here's what I mean. When a woman steps back and suddenly feels lighter, calmer, or more in control of her life without you, she'll associate your absence with relief. That doesn't mean she hated you. It just means maybe the relationship felt heavy, maybe your energy was too much, or maybe she simply wasn't invested enough. I remember a friend of mine who was dating a guy that constantly checked up on her, messaged her every few hours, and wanted to know her every move. At first, she thought it was sweet, but over time, it drained her. When he finally stopped reaching out after a fight, she expected to feel panic. Instead, she felt peace. She admitted she missed little things about him, but overall, his absence felt like breathing room, and that's when she knew she wasn't really in love. That's the harsh truth most men ignore. Absence doesn't always make the heart grow fonder. Sometimes it confirms that she was holding on out of habit, not desire. Sometimes it highlights that you weren't the man who truly challenged or inspired her. But here's the flip side: regret. If she does miss you, if she does feel that void, absence can trigger deep regret. She'll replay the times she took you for granted. She'll wish she had appreciated you more. And that regret can make her chase you in ways she never did before. Freedom or regret. It goes one of two ways, and the direction depends entirely on how she experienced you when you were there. 6. How desire quietly builds. Let's talk about something subtle. The way desire quietly builds during absence. See, men often think attraction is about grand gestures, bold moves, or constant attention. But for women, desire is often born in the quiet moments. When you're not there, she starts remembering the little things. The way you made her laugh unexpectedly, the way you carried yourself in a room, the energy you had when you walked away instead of chasing. These aren't dramatic memories, they're fragments, but those fragments grow stronger in silence. What makes absence powerful is that it gives space for those fragments to breathe. Instead of being overwhelmed by constant contact, she gets room to actually miss those details. And here's the secret. Women crave the feeling of craving. We like to miss, to wonder, to imagine. It keeps the emotional spark alive. If you rush in, if you can't hold your ground, you kill that craving before it even matures. But if you stay consistent in your silence, her mind will do the work for you. She'll replay your qualities in her head, and those memories will feel stronger because they're paired with your absence. That's how desire builds. Not because you forced it, but because you allowed her imagination to bring you back to life in her world. 7. The harsh reality you need to hear now. I need to give you the raw truth. Your absence only matters if your presence was valuable. Let that sink in. Too many men think disappearing will make them powerful. But if you weren't worth much to her in the first place, your absence won't mean anything. She'll forget you faster than you think. That's the harsh reality. Absence doesn't create attraction where there was none. It doesn't build respect if you never carried yourself with respect. It doesn't suddenly turn you into a high-value man if you weren't one already. So ask yourself, what kind of presence did you give her? Were you a man she admired, respected, and felt safe with? Or were you a man she tolerated, maybe even used, until something better came along? If your presence was strong, your absence will echo. It will stir her emotions, make her doubt, make her long, and make her reflect. But if your presence was weak, your absence will just be empty. This isn't to discourage you, it's to wake you up. The point isn't to rely on absence as a trick. The point is to make sure your presence is so solid, so valuable, that when you're gone, it creates a vacuum she can't ignore. That's the truth most men don't want to hear. But if you face it, you'll finally understand how to use absence as a tool, not a crutch. Here's the bottom line. A woman's feelings during your absence aren't predictable, but they are revealing. She'll either miss you, long for you, and fear losing you, or she'll realize your presence wasn't as valuable as she thought. And as harsh as that sounds, it's the truth. The controversial part is this: absence doesn't magically create desire. It only magnifies what was already there. If you were unforgettable when you were around, your absence will make her restless. If you are forgettable, your absence will confirm it. So, instead of obsessing over how long to wait before calling, or how many days of no contact are enough, focus on what kind of man you are when you are present. Because that's what shapes what she feels in your absence. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever gone silent on a woman? And what happened? Did she chase you, or did she move on? Drop your experience in the comments below, because I'll be reading and engaging with you there. Remember, women don't always tell you the truth about how they feel when you're gone, but I just did.